people were like, Ski Mask is destroying his voice smoking on them cigarettes. Like, I remember when really it's just the dude was just getting older and his voice was getting deeper.
Ski casually.
I'll never. This mugshot is crazy, bro. I'm sorry, Ski. This is a crazy mugshot, bro.
Princess Peach, Twitter like beach. Red, white, black, Pokeball might be. Beep, boop, beep, go catch it, my wrist.
Racist against rappers, they all look the same to him. They used to beg him not to egg him on Halloween. You told him holler back with the suede Pumas, dollar green. Nah, I mean, heat it up till the temperature tarball. Y'all just gawk like gargoyle.
From a bird that
got lit. Yeah, y'all don't know nothing about. That's that old Ski Mask. Speaking of Ski Mask, we have Mask The Slump God of what really happened. Now, Ski Mask used to be one of my favorite rappers. I still think dude is extremely talented, but he's definitely been through a lot. I think it's time to let him rest. You know, cause he lost X and he lost Juice back to back. Yeah, no. That nigga deserves to retire early, if you ask me. But let's see what BlackyySpeakz got to say.
Now, Mask The Slump God is a name a lot of people recognize, from being one of the most exciting new faces in the underground back in 2017 to coming up alongside his late friend XXXTentacion.
See, okay, and this is just all right. I'm sorry, I just got to say this. So, I remember back when they dropped that interview and they got chased off by the bee. Man, literally, dude. Yo, it's weird to think about how much of a fan I used to be, for real. Because I really used to be, like, in the know. Like, people were like, Ski Mask is destroying his voice smoking on them cigarettes. Like, I remember when really it's just the dude was just getting older and his voice was getting deeper. Oh, Lord.
To dropping a lot of very memorable songs. His career has been a roller coaster filled with momentum, setbacks, and moments where it felt like he vanished completely. In this video, I want to have a conversation about
you cut the dreads, Blackie? No.
What actually happened to Mask The Slump God. For anyone unfamiliar with the name or face, Stokely Goldburn, better known as Mask The Slump God, is a 28-year-old rapper from South Florida with Jamaican roots. He grew up in Fort Lauderdale, moving between his mother's and father's homes, while navigating life with his 4 siblings. Influenced by his father, who was once a rapper himself, Ski Mask started making music around age 16, while serving time in a Florida juvenile detention center.
He met X.
He was at the time locked up over a weed charge, but during his time in there, he discovered a new passion, which was rap. While in juvenile detention, Stokely met Jose Onfroy, professionally.
This is such a crazy link up, bro. Like to meet one of like the future big rappers of all time just because you happen to get locked up at the same time as this nigga.
Known as the late XXXTentacion, and the two young men quickly formed a close bond. Their friendship ran deep, even to the point where X gave Ski his own lunch as a birthday gift after Ski had just turned 16 inside the detention center. While they were both in juvenile detention, Ski casually
I'll never. This mugshot is crazy, bro. I'm sorry, Ski. This is a crazy mugshot, bro.
Spit a freestyle for X, just for fun. But X saw something in Ski Mask, encouraging Ski to keep writing and rapping. That moment gave Ski the confidence to take music seriously, and the rest is history. After they were both eventually released from juvenile detention, Ski Mask started a collective called Very Rare and invited X to join.
Oh, Ski started it. I always thought X started it.
Not long after, the two decided to create something even bigger, which was Members Only, a movement that would leave a lasting impact on the underground rap scene.
It did, but like unfortunately, bro, a lot of the people in Members Only either never took off or they fell off the face of the earth. Like think about Kid Trunks. Oh my Jesus, bro. And I actually like Kid Trunks, and then this nigga gonna lie about having gonna lie about being in the hospital for clout, and then pop up on a random 20v1 video. And it was like, what? Well, who else? Tankhead, Wi-Fi's Funeral, you know, all of these dudes, bro.
In 2015, Ski Mask dropped his first song as an artist, titled Catch Me, on SoundCloud, but later ended up deleting it because he hated how it sounded. Still, the track helped him build a local buzz in his area, setting the stage for what was to come. That same year, Ski and X dropped Members Only Volume 1, the collective's first official project.
They dropped volume what?
During this time, they were both grinding hard, pushing to get more recognition in Florida. They were constantly securing shows locally, building momentum, and making a name for themselves in the underground scene.
Y'all, bro, I wanted to go and see one of these. I wanted to go to a members only show so bad, bro. Y'all don't understand. But these niggas never came to North Carolina. Never.
Later in 2015, Ski and X dropped the second installment of the members only project. This release helped them gain even more traction, eventually catching the attention of Florida rapper Denzel Curry, who was already on his way to success at that point. Recognizing their talent, Denzel reached out and showed love, further boosting their credibility in the underground scene. Denzel built a close relationship with both Ski and X.
They dropped that diss on Space Ghost Perp. I never really was a fan of Space Ghost Perp.
And over time, they became tight. At one point, X even stayed with Denzel, and Ski Mask later landed on the cover of Denzel Curry's Imperial Project, marking another big moment in his come-up. That whole link-up between Denzel, X, and Ski led to a pretty notable moment, which was the song Space Ghost Pussy.
Bro, real talk, this song goes crazy. If you listen to it, you could tell that that Ski had no idea that this was supposed to be a diss.
Princess Peach, trying to like beach. Red, white, black, Pokeball, my beat. Beep, boop, beep, go gadget my wrist.
Yeah, nah, bro. Blood on the leaves like I'm Jesus. Yeah, no, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Ski was always nice with the flows, bro.
That was a
X brought the energy, Ski brought the crazy flows, and X could really rap too.
diss track against rapper Space Ghost Perp by Denzel Curry. Space Ghost Perp was the founder of a Miami hip-hop collective called Raider Clan that Denzel Curry used to be a part of. Now fast forward to April 2016, and Ski started making more and more waves in Florida. It was eventually when X started going viral in early 2017 that a lot of that...
Yeah, with the Look at Me, that's how I discovered X too. But I discovered X and it's literally like, I bet I can find it on my Instagram right now. It's literally one of the first ever posts I ever saved, because Instagram had just added the feature of being able to bookmark and save posts. It's one of the first posts I ever did. It's just like little fat Hispanic dude dancing to Look at Me by X, bro. And that's how I've... I like the song so much that I went back and I was like, who is this dude? XXXTentacion? How do you pronounce this guy's name? Like, I remember when it was a whole thing about how people couldn't figure out how to pronounce this man's name. It was a whole debate online. Like, it was crazy.
That attention spilled over to Ski. In May of 2016, he dropped his mixtape, Drown in Designer, which initially didn't do all that well.
Nah, he's got that one joint with Lil Pump where Lil Pump actually did good.
It was later, the following year, that the song Take a Step Back started blowing up, which pushed his mixtape.
Yeah, that's crazy that... What? So when it dropped initially, it didn't buzz that much? That's crazy, bro. There is some classics on this hoe. Take a Step Back. The one that he got with Lil Pump, that one's fire.
Later, the following year, that the song Take a Step Back started blowing up.
And then people were waiting on him to drop the You Will Regret,
which pushed his mixtape. At this point, Ski had built some recognition for himself around Florida and in the rap game in general, but hadn't properly popped off yet. It was in the summer of 2017 before Ski Mask caught his big break. He dropped a music video titled Catch Me Outside, directed by one of the most accomplished videographers in hip-hop, Cole Bennett, and everything was up for Ski at that point. And despite the song's viral success, it actually never ended up charting on the Billboard Hot 100, which is definitely interesting.
That's crazy to me. That's insane to me. Real talk, bro. Ski has always been fire. I don't know how that didn't chart, bro. Like, what? Even old school rappers were like saying, yeah, this is the one. Like, I remember Busta Rhymes gave Ski Mask a shout out. Hey, do you know how hard it is to get a shout out from Busta Rhymes? Come on, bro.
I don't know why, but this record actually felt way bigger than it actually was, at least to me. Maybe it's just really big in my head, right? At least in the rap world, I would say that it was definitely big. And I would definitely say that it kind of ended up breaking out of that bubble. Yeah. That same year, Ski had another big record titled Baby Wipe, which came out a few months later.
Oh yeah, I didn't really like Baby Wipe as much as I did Catch Me Outside.
And it was also directed by Cole Bennett. This song also added to the momentum he had built up for himself. Things kept moving for Ski Mask the following year. He had a lot of cosigns at that point, was fresh off of a lot of good music, and career-wise, Ski was doing good and he was on the up and up. While his career was still on the up and up, however, there was one thing that happened that following year that had a devastating impact on his mental health, and that was the loss of his friend and rapper XXXTentacion.
See, and what was more messed up is that I don't remember the specific timeline of events, but there was a good period of time when they had a falling out, and then right after the falling out, that's when he had passed away. I don't know if they made up just before he passed away or what, but I was like, damn, you know.
After the sudden death of XXXTentacion, Ski Mask hopped on Instagram Live back in June 2018 and reacted to his passing as the news came in.
Bro, I don't even know what to say right now. I G don't know what to say.
This shit's hard to watch, bro.
I guess I'm just making this because the information, what I just heard, was that he's passed.
Honestly, it was really heartbreaking seeing Ski Mask like that. And
It's heartbreaking seeing anybody like that. I remember whenever I found out, bro, I was like, I ain't gonna lie. I think I might have just left high school. I might have just have left class. Like, I just got home, and I was like, yeah, because it was 2018. Yeah, I was in college. I just got home from class, and I seen it just before I took a test, and I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't want to believe it. And when I got home, bro, that's when I was like, that's when I looked online again, and everybody was talking about it. I said, yo, what the fuck? Oh my gosh.
I think this part of Ski's story is very important to bring up because Ski and X, they both came up together. They're practically inseparable ever since they first initially came up. And one of the saddest aspects of seeing Ski go through this was the fact that him and X, for anyone who might not remember, were kind of, beefing for a period. And
yeah, exactly. They had a falling out. If I remember, I think he said it's because X threatened Ski to, like, he said he was going to sacrifice him and his people. I don't know.
Sometime before his death, they ended up, being on good terms. And that was the sad part. Yes,
okay, so they did reconcile. That's crazy.
They had personal issues, but then decided to, just put it all to the side. And right when that happened, X ended up getting killed. Now, Ski Mask was not doing good for a period of time. And it was so devastating to see him go through that. But of course, he did end up pushing through. He always spoke about how he felt like his friend XXXTentacion was with him in spirit. When he
Man, I get sad every time I see this interview, bro, because they really got chased away by a bee. Like, by one single bee had chased both of these niggas away, bro. Oh my god.
Was creating, which was one of the driving forces behind him getting over his grief. The loss of his friend aside, that same year with the release of his debut album, Stokely, Ski got 3 Billboard charting songs.
Faucet Failure. Faucet Failure was my favorite one, to be honest.
Foot Fungus and Nuketown featuring Juice WRLD both ended up on the Billboard charts in December of 2018, and Faucet Failure charted that following year in 2019. Now, it was after the release of Stokely that Ski actually took somewhat of a hiatus. After the success of his debut album, Ski wasn't really pushing that pedal like he was before. One of those possible reasons is what we're going to talk about in a second. But he did have a lot more at stake at this point. The pressures of the industry always kick in for an artist after that debut.
It doesn't give people time to rest for real, because this man really just lost somebody he basically came up with, and that's the sad part. The music industry, they don't really care. They're like, okay, yeah, that's sad. All right, when's the next project, nigga? Like, come on, bro.
Especially if it's a successful release like it was for Ski Mask. Between that period of Stokely and 2019, Ski Mask only dropped one song that entire time, which was Carbonated Water. Before 2020 hit, however,
Carbonated Water was fire.
Ski was hit with some more bad news.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Another one of his close friends in the industry had passed away, and that was rapper and singer Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD passed away on December 8, 2019 from an accidental drug overdose, something that certainly shook the entire music industry, but of course shook up the people closest to him the most. Ski Mask and Juice WRLD had a very close relationship. For them, it wasn't just an industry connection. They actually had a very deep bond that went beyond just the music. So when Juice passed away, obviously Ski was distraught. Bro, at this point, take me too, Ski said on Twitter,
Dude, I was honestly like, this is one of the few times where I was like, because I don't really like, I'm not trying to sound mean, but like when a celebrity passes away, I'm not like usually distraught about it. But dude, this had tore me up, because I was just thinking about what Ski was going through, bro. I was like, dude, he lost X and he lost Juice back to back, bro. Like, this is crazy. There's no way your mental can be okay after that.
Into Jared Higgins' death. He can't be gone. They keep taking my brothers from me. So this was the second person that Ski had lost in just a year and a half. I can't even imagine, how much that had to mess him up mentally.
Exactly.
I think when we're telling the story of his career, it's actually important to highlight both of those losses in his story because, they obviously played a part. Losing 2 of your closest friends back to back in this fashion, I don't even know what to say.
It's hard to come back for something like that. Like, honestly, if he had never made any more, if he had not made no more music past that point, I would have completely understood. You know, nobody has the right to tell Ski to drop more music. Like, nigga, no. Until you lost two brothers back to back within a 2-year time span of each other, no. You can't tell nobody to do nothing. Like, that's crazy work. But he did, and he came back and he dropped a couple of bangers. Like, I really liked his Shibuya project, you know. Like, I like that. But I'm not gonna sit here and every time Ski drops something, I'm gonna listen to it, you know. Cause I grew up listening to this dude, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna sit here and demand it.
But I do want to salute Ski for, you know, actually having the strength to go through that. Because a lot of people just wouldn't really make it through.
Nope.
Survivor's guilt is something a lot of us can relate to. You lose so many people close to you in devastating ways, and one day you start asking, God, why haven't you taken me? Why did you let me be here to deal with all this pain? Right after the death of Juice WRLD, the pandemic entered the chat, and that was of course a very rough time for everyone, dealing with the loss of his friend and the shifting times of 2020.
And then the pandemic on top. Jesus Christ.
Ski took a break from dropping until the summer of 2020, when he dropped Burn the Hoods, which was kind of like a statement. 2020 was a very racially targeted year. A lot of things were happening back then, and Ski dropped a song as a response to the change in times. Now after 2020, Ski took a pretty long hiatus once again. His momentum had definitely slowed down severely at this point. And I feel like Ski Mask, you know, at this point was kind of getting a little forgotten, and perhaps it was because of the change in the times, because a lot of new artists had come out by this point.
Unfortunately, like, even, the same exact thing happened to Roddy Ricch. Unfortunately, it's like I said, man, the music machine does not stop, bro. Like, the music industry is one of the most cutthroat industries on the planet. Don't matter if you're going through something. You're having a mental crisis? Okay. I still need my 16 bars, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
Perhaps it was because of the change in the times, because a lot of new artists had come out by this point. Roddy Ricch is a good example, who was on top back then. Polo G was also a new name in the rap game, who was doing extremely well back then.
You know what's crazy? I haven't heard. I was never really the biggest Polo G fan. I liked a couple of his songs. I have not heard nothing about Polo G at all. Nothing.
Lil Baby was also another name who was killing it in the rap game during that pandemic era.
Even Lil Baby's kind of fallen off, hasn't he?
In the 2017 SoundCloud era, Ski Mask
not completely though.
Came up with was slowly and surely disappearing. A lot of the artists who came up from that era were either dead, a lot of them were in jail, some of them were strung out on dope, and the ones who were out, people were just not really checking for.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, a lot of them were dropping like flies. Like, the SoundCloud era, basically the people who weren't able to evolve basically dropped off and fell off the face of the earth. Case in point, Smoke Perp, Lil Pump, many such cases. YNW Melly locked up. Denzel Curry is still on top of things. Like, Denzel Curry is a success story. Kodak Black, that nigga need to get sobered up, bro. I'm gonna be so for real, bro. It's scary. I seen that video of that nigga eating chicken off on the street. Like, he was sitting on the road, you know, eating food. Like, come on, bro. I'm not even in the same tax bracket as you, and I wouldn't do that. Like, what are you doing, Kodak? He threw caught a perk in his mouth like it was a piece of popcorn. That nigga was outrageous. But yeah, a lot of people from the SoundCloud era, they just, the fame had got to their heads, and a lot of them didn't realize just how fickle their career really was. The ones who were able to capitalize and, you know, and change their whole style, change their whole shtick, stop being some sort of gimmick rapper. The people who were able to change that are the ones who succeeded. You know, Denzel Curry, Lil Uzi, 21 Savage, you know what I'm saying?
For them anymore. And Ski Mask was of course a part of that entire wave that now was quite frankly on life support. In 2021, after that hiatus, he decided to come back with another project.
Oh yeah,
and that was Sin City, the mixtape. And I don't really know about the response to this particular project. I don't really have a feel for what the general consensus was, but I do remember that, you know, not as many people were interested in hearing about Ski at that point. I mean, to be fair, you know, at this particular point in the story, he had taken multiple long hiatuses here and there, which isn't something I would blame him for, right? Times were changing.
Yeah, you can't blame him for it, but it does it does directly affect your career, which is the craziest part, the saddest part. You can't even take a break.
And Ski had already gone through the loss of two of his best friends. And honestly, I feel like it was a confusing time for a lot of people in the world during those years. I mean, honestly, fuck this entire conversation. I feel like it was a very just strange time after 2020. I mean, can't put my finger on it, but I just feel like so many things changed. And this,
It did. Honestly, it did. And real talk, I would love to have like a deeper conversation about that, because I feel like rap had a direction, and then the pandemic happened, and then it just kind of flew off of the handle, you know? Like, there's not really a direction in rap anymore, you know? Like, people are starting to look more to the underground now for a new sense of direction, because, like, can you really, like, real talk, Double XL freshman cypher, can you name me 10 freshmen you put on the cypher for 2025? Okay, yeah. No, I didn't think so. I can't either, you know? I don't even remember who was on last year's cypher, to be honest, but there's no clear direction in rap. There's no people. There's not really anybody, quote unquote, to watch. You know, it feels like everybody is just kind of like, this kind of feels like a more stale and bland version of the 2016 clout rap era, because now everybody's trying to do a gimmick that can blow up on TikTok and stuff. And you know, it's some of them it sounds good, you know what I mean? Some of them it definitely sounds good. Some of them are different. Like, I think we're starting to slowly come back around a little bit, you know. I mean, we got people like Skrilla and Baby Kia and people like that, where it's kind of like, all right, these people are bringing something at least slightly new to the table. But I feel like the overall direction in rap just kind of got spun out of control. Like, there's not really a direction anymore, for real. You know, in 2018, you could kind of see where the wave was. You could see what the wave was. Can you, in 2025, can you really tell me what the wave is? You know what I mean? Moneybag Yo, like, shut up.
Ski took another pretty long hiatus between projects in 2021 and 2024. Last summer, he dropped another album, 11th Dimension, which had a lot of very notable features, including the late XXXTentacion, Future, and the late Juice WRLD. I think Ski had a very strong introduction to the rap game. He came up in a very organic way, had a very interesting wave around him as well. And he's of course always been a very gifted and talented rapper. Yeah. A very dope and unique person. Very genuine aura. Someone who comes across as very authentic and real. That's one of the things I think has always made Ski Mask different from the rest.
I love that change so much, bro. Like, real talk. And it's not even I'm not even being a fanboy, bro. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I'm saying? Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of my favorite anime of all time. Like, real talk. If I could get a chain, I probably would do the Millennium Ring.
He's never leaned on gimmicks or antics to boost himself up. These days, however, I've noticed that people aren't checking for Ski Mask like they used to, due to some of the things I've spoken about. I mean, it's a different time now, and so many artists have just had a very hard time transitioning into this new era. Literally everyone is going through it to some extent, right? Yeah. I think Ski is kind of lucky, though, in the sense that he does still have a very loyal fan base that cares about him. I mean, he's never really been for everybody, and I think that Ski Mask is definitely an acquired taste for
it's weird that he's an acquired taste, because I feel like if you just listen to him, you could hear the talent. But yeah, I guess that is true. You know, he's not for everybody.
I wouldn't really say that anything necessarily happened to him, aside from the fact that he's obviously not as popular as he used to be. Every artist has their strong wave coming into the industry when they're new, and at a certain point that wave does subside. That doesn't mean he can't come stronger, because really if you take a look at it objectively, Ski Mask still hasn't had an extremely big record. I'm talking let's say, Roddy Ricch, the box level big.
And what's insane is, like, just like Blackie said, to me, Catch Me Outside was that record for Ski, but it didn't even hit the Billboard. That's insane to me.
And that means there's work for him to still put in. Ski overall has always been a dope artist in my eyes. Music-wise, his work hasn't always been as digestible as a lot of his other peers. But I think part of the reason why he built such a strong fan base is because he was just himself. I think Mask The Slump God is always going to be good in the end. He's always going to have a name, and I'm of course looking forward to seeing where he goes from here. Shout out my mucus if you made it this far, you guys.
You know, that'd be my slime.
Can't leave this video without dropping a like, okay? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new here, my name is BlackyySpeakz. Nice to meet you.
I got you, my boy Blackie. I don't know why you cut your dreads. You're insane. Yeah, but yeah, man. Shout out Ski Mask. Shout out Blackie. Yeah, bro. I say let's just give Ski Mask some time, bro. I feel like we need to let him relax and let him make sure his mind is right to really focus back into it, because it's mentally draining to try to stay on top of your rap career and stuff, so